Hi and Assalamualaikum. We are from Group 8 and we are going to present about vertebrate evolution. Before that, let me introduce my teammates. First is Hadi Husni bin Rasidi. Second is Nur Alia Maisarah binti Jemain. Third is Nurul Hidayah binti Muhammad Fazil. And me, Christina Alia binti Muhammad Nazrin. So, let's check it out our video.
Hello, I'm Hadi and today I'm going to talk about amphibian. In this topic, you'll learn about 7 characteristics that defines amphibian, the feature of 3 main groups, and the hypothesis that explain the evolution of amphibian. The first characteristic is that amphibians are tetrapods, which means it have 4 limbs and they have developed pelvic and pectoral for locomotion. The second characteristic is that amphibians have smooth and scaly skin which act as water balance, respiration, and temperature regulations. Thirdly, they have a relatively small lung, and fourth, they have double loop pathway as a circulatory system with 2 atria and 1 ventricle. There's a mixing of blood happens in ventricle. They also have special sense, they live on land, and have larger brain than fishes. Lastly, they reproduce by external fertilization in water where the egg is protected by a jelly coat instead of shells, and the larvae undergo metamorphosis so that they can live on. There are 2 theories about evolution of amphibian, which is 1. The lobfin fish use their fin to move from pond to pond, and other than that, they have high supply of food and lack of predator. Lastly, we'll take a look at the 3 types of amphibian, which is 1. Salamander, which size range from 15 cm to 1.5 meter. Walk in S pattern called sinusoidal movement, usually a carnivore and practices internal fertilization. Caecilians are usually legless and sightless, have a worm shape varying length from 10 cm to 1 meter. It feeds on worm and other invertebrates and mostly burrow in moist soil. Lastly, frog and toads are usually less than 1 cm to 30 cm in size and have specialized legs for jumping. All of them are carnivore and some even secret poison to defend themselves.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good day everyone. My name is Nur Alia Maisarah and I am going to continue the presentation with explanation on reptiles. So in this subtopic, we are going to list out the 7 features that define the reptiles. We are also going to explain why the reptiles are represented by modern evolutionary lineage. And the third objective is to define the traits of birds that are related to the flight. So for the first topic is we are going to discuss about the characteristic of reptiles. So for the first characteristic is reptiles have paired limbs with 5 toes each. They also have efficient circulations, which means that they have hearts that prevent the mixing of blood. They also have skin, wholly or in part scaly. And the fourth characteristic is they have efficient excretions, which means they have kidneys that excrete uric acid. They also have efficient breathing. They have lungs and expandable ribcage. Reptiles are also known as ectothermy, which means that they maintain a warm body temperature by warming in the sun. They also have well-adapted reproductions, which means that they have separate sexes and internal fertilization. So this is a picture of alligator. If you do not want to address this alligator as alligator, you are welcome to address it as its scientific name, which is Alligator mississippiensis. Okay, we are going to continue with the anatomy of reptile. So, what features that you can distinguish here that indicates that this animal is a reptile? So, for the first one is they have a pair of limbs, which have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 toes. And the second one is they have lungs, which means they have efficient breathing. They also have kidneys, which indicates that they have efficient excretions and they can excrete uric acid by kidney. So this is the diagram of timeline and evolution of amniotes. So this diagram shows an overview of the presumed evolutionary relationships among amniotes, including the major groups of reptiles. So as we can see here, it all origins with a pelycosaurus, which is already extinct, and the lineage of reptiles starts from here, which separates them from anapsid skulls and diapsid skulls. We could see that most reptiles are actually composed of diapsid skulls, and anapsid skulls is possessed by turtles, and other reptiles mostly have diapsid skulls only. It includes like lizards, tuataras, crocodilians, and birds. So, for further information about the evolution of amniotes, for the first example is turtles. Turtles is a type of reptile that have anapsid skulls, which means that they have no opening behind orbits. Anapsids are highly specialized diapsids in modern review. So, for the second example is mammal. This is a cute koala is an example of mammals. So koala possess a skull that is synapsid, which means that koala has only one opening behind the orbit. So if you're wondering why we are talking about mammal instead of reptile, it is because we are currently discussing of amniotes, and amniotes includes mammal because this mammal has synapsid skulls. So for the third one is tuataras. This tuataras is a type of reptile that possess diapsid skulls, which means they have two openings behind their eyes. So we are going to continue with the diversity of living reptile. So in this topic, we are going to list out more features that other reptile possess other than listed out in the 7 main reptile characteristics. So for the first one, we have turtles and tortoise. So these turtles have ribs and thoracic vertebrae fused into a heavy shell. They lack of teeth, but they have a strong beak. So second one is lizards. I am sure all of you is familiar with this lizard, right? So this lizard is a type of reptile that has limbs. They have 4 limbs that most have more 4-clawed feet. They are also known as carnivores, which means they feed on meat. The third one is snakes. This is the most famous example of reptiles. So snakes originally have limbs, but unfortunately they lost their limbs as an adaptation to burrowing. So snake is known as carnivorous animal. Some of them are venomous and some of them are not venomous. So for fourth one is tuataras. So I already explained that tuataras has diapsid skulls, right? So other characteristic that tuataras has is they have third eye, but unfortunately they cannot see from the third eye. So it means that their sight is not visible. Tuataras is also known as a member of an ancient group of reptiles that include the common ancestor of modern lizards and snakes. So for the last one is crocodilians. So crocodilians, it includes crocodiles and alligators. So other than the characteristic that I list out earlier, crocodilians is known for their long and powerful jaws. They have numerous of teeth. They also have muscular tail that serves as weapon and paddle. That is all from me. I am going to let Hidayah continue their presentation. Thank you.
Okay, now let's take a look at birds. Here, there is a plentiful fossil record shows that birds evolved from dinosaurs, who are probably small meat-eaters. There are 5 characteristics of birds. The first characteristic is birds have feathers. Feather is a modified reptilian scale with a complex structure. Nearly all birds lose their feathers and replace them about once a year. The second characteristic, birds have modified skeleton, where the collarbone and many other bones are fused, which makes the skeleton more rigid. Their sternum has a keel. Here is the sternum. Here. The breast muscles are attached to the keel, and their action
makes the birds to fly. The third characteristic, birds have modified respiration. Birds have lungs that are connected to air sacs. The presence of air sacs means the air circulates one way through the lungs, and the gases are continuously exchanged across respiratory tissues. One of the benefits of air sacs is they lighten the body and bones for flying. The presence of air sacs also found in the cavities of the bones. Then, the fourth characteristic is endothermy. Unlike other reptiles, birds actually generate internal heat. Other endotherms use metabolic heat to maintain a constant internal temperature. And the last characteristic here, we have birds have well-developed sense organ and nervous systems. Birds have particularly acute vision, and the enlarged portion of the brain are responsible for the instinctive behavior. And lastly, diversity of living birds. Majority of birds can fly, for example, eagles, geese, and mockingbirds. However, some of the birds are flightless, including emus, penguins, kiwis, and ostriches. Traditionally, we can classify birds according to the beak and food type, habitat, and behavior. So now, let's take a look how dinosaurs transformed to birds.
Hi, my name is Christina and I'm going to present about the mammals. First of all, what we should know is the learning outcomes. We can describe the 5 features of mammals. Next, discuss the timeline of the evolution of mammals. And identify several features that define each of the 3 lineages of mammals. Okay, for the first learning outcomes, describe 5 characteristics of mammals. This is a cow. Cow is a mammal, right? What we can see 5 characteristics on a mammal. So first characteristic that we can see is hair. Hair is very important as an insulation to against heat loss. Then it also a camouflage and it is an ornamental and serves sensory functions to mammal. The second one is skeleton. Skeleton is very important also to protect the brain of a mammal. Then mammal also has cheek teeth, which is premolars and molars located behind and inside the mouth. Mammal also has arc at the middle region of the vertebral column like our backbone, and it also has limbs under the body. The third characteristic is mammary glands. Mammary glands is to enable females to feed and provide antibodies to the young. The fourth is internal development. Embryo develops in the uterus. The uterus will protect the young and female can move anywhere while the young maturing inside the uterus. The young can alive after. The last characteristic is internal organs. So, what we can see, a mammal has an efficient respiratory, which is a double loop circulatory like this, and it also has a circulatory system which is 4-chambered heart like this. Okay, for the second learning outcomes is the timeline of the evolution of mammal groups. Okay guys, open your medal textbook right now, page 557. From here, the animal will evolve and develop into three groups of mammals that we can see nowadays. First, monotremes. Second, marsupials. And third, placentals. For your information, monotremes is the oldest group of mammals that exists until nowadays. For this slide, we are going to know more about one of the group of mammal, which is monotremes. Don't you guys curious how can this group named as monotremes? Mono, it means one, while tremes is a term come from trema, which means whole. So monotremes is one whole. So let's see the features of the monotremes. First, they lay hard-shell amniotic egg, and they also has a single urogenital opening known as cloaca, which is a shared excretory and reproductive canal. As we can see from this picture, they share the same excretory and reproductive canal. That's why they call as monotremes. For the example, for monotremes is echidna, as known as spiny amphitheaters, and also a cutie-pie platypus. For your information, duck-billed platypus, they will lay their eggs in a burrow in the ground, and then after the eggs incubated and hatch, the young will lick up the milk that seeps from the modified sweat glands at the mother's abdomen. Okay, for this part is about the second group of mammal, which is marsupials. So, what is meaning of marsupials? Marsupials is a name come from marsupium, marsupium, which means pouch. The features of the marsupials is, absolutely, they has a pouch. Then they also has 2 true uteruses and up to 3 vaginal canals. As we can see from the picture, 2 true uteruses, which is located at here, and up. So it means it can be 2 and more. And they also has 3 vaginal canals, which are located at here, here, and here. The example for marsupials is kangaroo, quokka, and Tasmanian devil. For this group, the young is very tiny and hairless. It will crawl up into the pouch and sip the milk from the mammary glands at the abdomen of the mother. For the last group of mammals is placental mammals. Placental mammals is the largest group of mammals because of their number and exist in the earth. Most of them also live on the land, but some of them live under the sea and fly in the air. Even though they are different, but they share the same feature. They can give birth. For the example is orangutan, deer, and manatee. Manatee live under the sea. Some of them also can fly. For the flying placental, bat. And for the gliding placental, they are scaly-tailed squirrel, flying squirrel, and flying lemur.